Alright, this is Kim Larson, and I was going to talk to everybody real quick about interactive notebooks. I had a friend of mine named Marcia Lott came and was asking me my opinion on and my thoughts on interactive notebooks, and I told her that I wasn't 100% sure what she was referring to, because I automatically assumed that an interactive notebook would be a notebook that was digitally interactive, such as Google Drives, whether it be Evernote or even some of the other online, OneNote, things like that. But apparently I was wrong, because interactive notebooks, after looking them up, they are actual notebooks. And some people are using composition books, and some people are using engineering books, and some people have sketchbooks, so they have blank pages, ruled pages, graph or gridded paper. But as I was thinking about it, I actually remembered that I had this notebook that a student turned in, and I asked to keep it as an example. And this was from 2004, I believe. And so I kept this, because I thought that she just had everything in here, and it was just so organized. I know it doesn't look so organized on the side, but everything in here is just fantastic. And so I asked her if I could keep it. And so some of the things, and I was just going to flip through this, because everything I've looked at and found for interactive notebooks is dealing with academics, math, science, social studies, history, English. So I actually teach graphic design and graphic production, and this is actually an intro to a graphic arts class. And I believe that most teachers I know, they have the students keep some sort of notebook or some sort of sketchbook or whatever to kind of keep everything kind of together. And so I guess an interactive notebook would just be the same thing that we do now, like with the sketchbooks, except it just adds a little bit more organization. So in here, and yeah, this is from 2004 that I had a student turn this into me. So in the front of it, it has her name, the class period, the class. And then over here we actually have dividers, and I let the students either make their dividers or they could purchase their dividers. And on here we have the first section I have is the syllabus, the class website, so that it's easy to find. I also have a number up here. Several people have probably seen this. You assign every student a number, and so if they are number 1, they're the first person in your grade book. If they're number 3, they're the third person in your grade book. And I do all the students with numbers, that way it's just easy to find, or to alphabetize quickly. I can just pop them into numerical order, and then I know that they are the same place as in my grade book. Anyway, so as I was flipping through, I noticed, I had my syllabus was the first thing I had them put in here. I actually had them go through and highlight different parts of the syllabus. About a week after school starts, I actually give them an open notes syllabus quiz. And so chances are some of the stuff that's highlighted, I might go and ask them a question about that. For example, one of my questions on the syllabus test might be here, what is, Miss Larson's email address or whatever. So we have, our syllabus in here. We also have our parent-teacher-student contract. Also, we have some extra pages that were added, as well as a reference guide. I had them put in the front of ASCII codes, ASCII codes, and these are just codes that you can type into the computer. So if you were ever looking, for example, you want to put the trademark symbol, if you hold down the Alt key and type in 153, then you would get the little trademark symbol. So I had them put it up here for reference. And then she wrote, they did some sort of speech, I guess, and these were her notes. I guess it was just easy to find. The next section I had was a journaling section, and I have my grade sheet, and then the students would journal in class, whether it be written or sentence, doodles, sketches, however. I normally give them 4 days of stuff, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Friday I would quiz them over maybe some of the stuff that was either written about or like our discussions, or this page here looks like maybe some sort of, no, I was going to say some sort of vocab, typically. So in here, after I graded them, what I did is I took and folded the weeks. That way it was easy for me to go through and find what was happening. Then as I was going through and looking a little bit more in here, I noticed and I'm not sure why this is under journaling, but it might have been something I gave to him as almost like a bell ringer, because that's what I used the journaling for, was bell ringer type stuff. And some more kind of journal pages, and I just more of like self-reflection about maybe what we were talking about in class. And then next I had a tab for notes, and in here I just had them, whatever we did in class, whatever notes we took, we would just put them in here. As teachers, we all know that students typically will learn better if they handwrite the notes or type the note, if they're actually interacting somehow. They're not just listening. You want them to be actively engaged. And so anyway, so in here I have a handout that I gave out about the printing industry, and then as we go through you can see some of the notes about just advantages and disadvantages, maybe of each of the offset printing method, or not offset, but each of the printing methods. She went in and with our CMYK, and again you can just see she went into great detail with her notes. This was just kind of like a little bell ringer exercise or whatever. Just I had the students break everything down to very simple forms whenever they were drawing. And I'm sure flipping through this, logically you're thinking this doesn't make much sense, the way that we're kind of going through it and what was happening on it each day. But I think like the interactive notebook, as far as having an index or a table of contents in the front, I think would be helpful to then turn back and find this, the information. So anyways, we've got more notes in here, notes about plagiarism and copyright, 4 factors of fair use dealing with copyright, some shop safety worksheets that we did in class and then went through. Again, more notes, pre-test type things, vocab, and you can see just how well they went through. And this particular student, I mean, I had all the students keep all their stuff, and she had everything in here, and it was very nicely put, because she could have this whole notebook and have everything dealing with the class. So again, kind of going through here, we've got some more safety, some printing. I actually would draw stuff on the board and have them draw it out onto their paper, so that way that they had visual representation. And to me, it's better to have them, especially if it's a simple drawing, have them actually repeat my drawing, so that hopefully when they're taking the test, they will remember what they drew versus a handout. So, of course, I later on gave a handout. Again, some drawing exercises still, and talking about the different printing methods, which could easily be done in a sketchbook. In here, the student, she happened to be absent this day, so she put the paper in here in the order, the date order, and put that she was absent and that she was on a 10-day or a field trip for cheerleading. So in here again, some more handouts that we kind of went through, and more handouts and more handouts. Again, it was more notes. She also kind of kept little post-its in here, and you can see probably why the spiral notebook would be better, only because then you wouldn't have to worry about these pages ripping out. But again, this was kind of like a math section. You'll see like a, bunch of math stuff. Again, then we've got some vocab where they wrote down all their vocabulary. Again, simple drawings, the different types of writing. Went through the anatomy, later on, I actually do bigger projects with these typography ones now for labeling as well as for the different type classes. And again, we put in some handouts in here, and again, more vocab, sketches for whatever they were working on. And here we were talking about how type is formatted, whether it be right, justified, left, justified. And so I actually had them then tape or glue in examples that they actually found in real life, so that way they knew what we were talking about, yet they could find evidence. So I guess maybe my interactive notebook, I just would call this more of like, they were compiling all their notes and artifacts and everything to better understand the topic. So again, some more samples that she found. And then we've got more notes, dealing with all of our type and measurement and everything. Even the little handouts, again, those would be put in there. Guided notes, if you do guided note taking, where I would come up with something and provide blanks that they would fill out during the lecture. Again, guided notes over here as far as the different type classes, where I actually had them draw out. So I would draw it on the board and they would draw that out and take their notes. Again, more guided notes in here. So as we go through, again, it's just notes, notes, notes. You can see where this would, it would be helpful for a student to have all this information just at the tip of their fingers. So more notes, more notes. Then in here we were doing some gesture drawings for just quick sketching for thumbnails and just practicing drawing ability. And I would do just 1 minute gesture drawings where I would just take a pose and I would stand there for 1 minute and they would have to draw what position I was standing in. Then I gave them certain, draw 5 people, whatever, draw 2 hands, however you do it. And then we have a printed out copy of just an orientation of a practice test. And as we move on, we also have this section here is actually quizzes and tests. And so I had them kind of put stuff in the back here. And some of my quizzes are, even now, some of them are on dittos or handouts. Some of them are handwritten. Some of them are hand-drawn. I would say probably the majority of my quizzes nowadays are all on the computer. I actually use Kia, Q-U-I-A, and to do all of my quizzes. And then this last little section is portfolio, but if I did a guided notebook, I would definitely, not a guided notebook, but an interactive notebook, I would switch some of this stuff up. But in the back here is where we actually have all of our thumbnail sketches and roughs, and just kind of playing around to kind of figure out colors and compositions. We have primary colors, secondary and tertiary colors. We also have our value scale, and again another value project. Some other kind of little guided, some other little guided note taking in this area. In here I had students do a color wheel, but I had them do it with color pencils, crayons, markers, whatever, just so that we can practice our skills as far as hand render, hand color stuff goes. This particular project, they did the color wheel, but then I actually had them go out and find in real life magazine pieces or whatever of the different color schemes. So as they were going through it, like this, monochromatic or analogous, and I mean, it would be better if they went through and actually like pointed out the areas, kind of what they were talking about, about whether it be split complementary or like on this one, triad, what 3 colors are you saying are the triad colors, just to make sure that they understand. Again, we have another drawing just to make sure that they're understanding kind of how the process works. Little grade sheets or rubrics. Again, samples, and I tried to make sure it all fit in the notebook, and this was a project with positive and negative shapes. They had to draw out a letter that hit all 4 sides. It had to take up at least 50% of the space. Then they made a copy of it, and then they cut out the negative space, and then on the other side they took and arranged the negative space into some sort of picture, however, so a little project there. So then they also kept their research reports in here, and we have more drawings or sketches in here for the different printing processes. Again, more sketches dealing with, I would give them, draw, 5 thumbs, 5 hands, 5 feet, whatever, just to get them to sketch and draw. And so there's hands and fingers. I do start out just doing just simple gesture, kind of bare bone stuff to see how they can build it up. And again, more little sketches, eyes, face, And again, keeping our reports in here. The students actually did all their drawings for this particular class back in 2004. They did it all on notebook paper, or on computer paper, just simple 20-pound computer paper. So it wasn't anything too exciting. Now I actually use sketchbooks instead, and I probably would I'm going to continue with the sketchbook, but I'll probably do this same type of guided notes and everything through the sketchbook. Although I am a firm believer in the computer and being able to, for example, like this piece here, have it in the notebook, but I would really encourage my students to take a picture of this and also have an online cloud-based notebook, whether it be Evernote or Google Drive or whatever, so that even if they're sitting at the doctor's office, they could still sit here and review this. If they're, family or vacation and they need to review it, they could still do that as well. So in case they don't have their notebook, they could still go and pull this information up. Even if it's handwritten notes, they could still access it, those notes. Probably, me personally, if I were taking a class, I would handwrite these notes, and then later on I would go back into something digital like Evernote or Google Drive or something, and I would actually type these notes up if it was notes like that, versus if it was a some sort of drawing or whatever, like this particular drawing, I would just scan that and then input that into my notes. So I guess my opinion on interactive notebooks, I guess I did this back in 2004 is what you would call an interactive notebook, except that I did not, we were divided out, but I didn't have a table of contents. My foldables and different kinds of other visuals all kind of went in here, but I like the idea of not having it in a 3-ring binder. I think that would be great, and but I still would like to have some sort of cloud-based backup as well, because I think that would actually be a nice addition. So that is my input, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.